At this point, I have no idea what I'm doing. My name is Jonathan, I live in Sweden, and I like this, and even a little bit of this.
Your mama might be a millionaire, you might come from privilege, your daddy might hook you up with a car, he might know people, he might be able to get you a job, but you will not outwork me.
For the last few months, I've been trying to combine all of these into something. It was supposed to be a productivity tool, but now it has exploded in scope and also kind of become my baby. It's called Aurelio. I want to take you along with my journey of building it, the challenges I face, the mistakes I make, and the joy of building cool shit and making it up as you go. This is the first of hopefully many videos, so warm welcome. If you like this, please consider subscribing. That will fuel my ego and pressure me into making more of them. Let's get it. What the hell is even an Aurelio?
All of you!
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
It was supposed to be a to-do list for me that refreshed every day. I like habits and I really like tracking them, so that was the plan. It has since suffered a little bit of scope creep. I've added in this part, and this part, and also this part. As of recording this, Aurelio lets you build kind of complicated and to me super cool lists. In those lists you can put regular to-do items, you can put notes, you can set up reminders and little trees of to-dos and reminders and new items and so on. And to any of these items you can attach a metric that you want to track. So every gym session, every minute you meditate, or the number of YouTube subscribers you have. You can then set up goals, track streaks, and do all kind of things with those metrics. They're data that's just there and available for you to play around with. I've tried to do all of this in a UI that feels very customizable for the user. It's limited right now, but I have kind of big plans for this. I've been looking a lot at Notion and Figma for inspiration of how they do things and how the UI feels, which will be very exciting for me in the future, I think. Priorities, man. Because if you don't know what's your priority, how do you know what's important in life? How do you even know what kind of man you are? Okay, let's do some actual work. So the next thing I want to do is add in some attributes I can put on my items. This will make a big difference to how they look when they're rendered in compact lists, because currently they're kind of hard to navigate, they all look the same. I want to attach attributes for them and then I can show those in line. This is things like due date, priority, estimated time, and the status, so if it's done or not done. I think this will make a big difference. In my code, the document that you interact with is called item. Very creative, I know, thank you. This item has the key to an item type, and that item type holds all of the structural information of that item. This means that one item type can be shared across many items. From the item type we fetch a list of parts, and if one of those parts is the type item list part, we will render out a list of other items. This means that you basically...
It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is?
Look, all of this is just to say that if I want to show these attributes in a list, I need to add them to the item class. But before I do that, I need to head into Figma and design the components. Yes, jolly good, thank you, from the studio. I'm Jonathan, reporting here live from the Figma layout, as you can see behind me, and things are looking very good indeed, if I dare say so myself. If you take a look at your right-hand screen, you can see that we have the new and improved tiles with the attributes laid out very professionally here. And if we go to the left, you can see that this would be the interaction widgets, where the user goes to, put in data, that sort of stuff. Everything is looking really splendid. Here and here. I do say, it looks like this young man is just about ready to go into coding. I don't even know what this accent is, man. Is it British? Is it American? It's so stupid. Hey, hallå. Future Jonathan here checking in. I hope you're having a good time so far, that you're enjoying the video. The rest of this is going to be quite technical, a lot of code and stuff like that. Maybe that's more for the
Developers
out there. If you think that shit is for fucking nerds, bro, and you're heading out, hey man, I appreciate you, I love you, thank you for stopping by. I'll see you next week. For those of you who are staying, let's look at some pretty cool Dart code that I wrote. Okay, how do I get out of here? The attributes I have in mind are very simple, really just a value. So in data, they fit perfectly into a map that we can then store on the item as the current state. Next, we need to define our attributes in code. And since the data is so simple, we don't want to create one class for each attribute, but collect them under a shared surface. Dart is a strongly typed language, so I will need to specify the value type eventually. The 4 attributes I'm starting with is status, estimation, due date, and priority. Let's collect all of these under the class item attribute. And to make it clear that this is a shared surface, let's make it abstract. This means that it can no longer be instantiated and should only ever be extended by other classes. Speaking of, let's create those and give each one a string identifier value. Since these will return different types of values, we need to declare this on our abstract class, and then define what type each attribute will return. We're storing this in a database, so we will need to serialize and deserialize the data. Let's add those functions on the base class, and on each of the subclasses. Also, I want the base class to keep all the logic for updating values. That means that adding new attributes in the future will be simple. I'll add a function that takes in a value of any type and returns a map entry we can send to the database. I also want to define a default entry for when a user first adds attributes to an item, and I will do this with the help of a default factory function. I need this to be a function since not all default values will be constants, and Dart needs a function to solve the runtime around this. Now that the modeling is done, let's cook up a quick UI registry for the input parts. I'll create a view model derived from my larger item view model with just basic input-output. Then, create a type def for my builders, taking that VM as an argument. This might be overkill, but I just recently learned about these type defs in Dart, and so I really want to use them. Now all I need to do is create the individual builders and then do the routing in a render function. If I add more attributes in the future, all I need to do is return here and add corresponding builders. Easy. Okay, well, it's Saturday, so it took a few more hours than I thought to hook up all of the UI components and write that code out. I had to do a little bit of debugging as well that set me back an hour or so. And then I also took the time to refactor some kind of bad code that was adjacent to this I'd written like a month ago, and I have been, looking at it when I've come across it in the code base and said, this is kind of garbage. I need to do this sometimes. And that sometime was this morning. So now everything is working. It is the first draft, so it's, not complete. I still have some UI work to do, but I'm kind of happy with this. The implementation, I think, will scale well into the future and should be relatively easy to debug and stay kind of bug free as well going forward. So let's have a look. Okay, so here you can see the list in the app. This is what we've been working on. And if we go into one of the items, I've added this button to add attributes. So here are the 4 that we've been building out. Let's add an estimate. You change it by a drop down. And I also have this little icon to remove it completely. Let's add a status. This is how that menu looks. And yeah, if we go back into the list, you can see that this is how it looks in a compact view. So the implementation here is very nice, I think. The due date and the priority isn't completely finished. The input part looks good, I think. So this one for the calendar I was especially happy with. The code worked out super cleanly for this, but if you look in the list you see that this needs a little bit of work. But I'll do that sometimes later.